Hello, friends. Thank you for joining me today on a topic that is pretty darn cool, if I don't say so myself. So, let me start with a little question. Do you know that what you think about in your state of being can alter your physiology? It's probably a no-brainer if you've been following my videos or my posts for a little while. You know that how you feel, and if you fear and have a lot of stress, you can perpetuate negative cascades of biochemical alterations in your mind and body. No fun. But the good news is you can also use integrative and lifestyle tools that can positively change how your brain is wired, and this can promote health. That's the concept of neuroplasticity that we talked about in a previous video. And it's based on the science that the brain can form new pathways and connections through certain stimuluses. Now, other ways that we can alter our mindset and shift our biochemistry and brain functioning is through consciousness, literally through mind-body medicine and natural processes and approaches to wellness. In fact, studies have shown that practices such as yoga, meditation, mindfulness, even laughter can modify genetic expression at the cellular level, which means that we can turn on genes that are health promoting and turn off molecular signals that are harmful. Isn't that cool? Because listen, we've been inundated with doom and gloom long enough, and I've talked about the negative implications of that. So I thought it would be fun to do a little video investigating how we can adjust our focus on life promoting activities that are available to everyone, easily accessible, and they can empower us and enhance our resiliency. And we can engage in them for the purpose of better living rather than focus on running away from fear and harm. Wouldn't that be cool if the whole world kind of instantaneously turned off the news and tuned into what could empower us? That would be a wonderful world, right? All right, let's start a little bit on what I went over in the article I wrote. Now, if you want the studies and you want more of the nitty-gritty details, there will be a link in the video description to the article with all of that for you. And you can also find previous videos in my YouTube channel if you're interested in anything that you might have missed that I had previously posted. So let's explore these molecules of the mind body and what happens in different forms of silence and how that impacts our genes. So first, let's start with the concept of epigenetics. And if you're not familiar with epigenetics, it's a relatively new area of study, and it's producing an explosion of evidence that how we influence our DNA and cellular functions through our everyday choices. And we can't change our genes, but we can modify how they express themselves, what chemicals they're putting out, right? So cells are going to respond to the environment they're in, whether they're nurtured in non-toxic, health-promoting chemicals and foods that create signals in our body that create health-promoting responses, versus if we choose to kind of keep our cells in this murky water of dark stress and maybe toxic chemicals and negative relationships, that's going to impact the genetic expression of the cell, and it's going to produce different chemicals than in the first scenario. So EPA on top of genes, that's what epigenetic is. Now, the good thing is, as I mentioned, the lifestyle influences that change our cellular signaling also assist with neuroplasticity. So it can also change our mood and how our brain is wired and our memory and cognition. So we talked about things previously in other videos, or if you've been following me for a while, I've discussed about nutrients and nourishing food, movement, stress management, relationships, environmental exposures. All of these things are going to impact how our brain functions and how our cells function. And I also have touched upon a little bit how integrative medicine can alter our gene expression. We've talked about mindset as medicine for a while now, and the cellular shifts that occur with fear and stress and trauma. But now let's look at how integrative medicine can help mend some of these cellular signals and move them towards more health promoting signaling patterns. So I guess in about 2013 is when research really started to demonstrate that gene expression could be altered with things such as meditation. In fact, in 2013, Psychology Today reported on a discovery that was, to the best of my knowledge and their knowledge, the first paper that shows rapid alterations in gene expression when subjects were associated with a mindfulness meditation practice. And what they found is that meditation altered the levels of gene regulating machinery and reduced levels of pro-inflammatory genes. And this correlated with faster physical recovery from a stressful situation. So literally, what they were finding is that meditation kind of downregulated the negative effects of stress and actually upregulated some positive benefits for the person doing that practice. A year later, in 2014, Scientific American reported on changing our DNA through mind control. And this was a study specifically on telomeres. So telomeres are stretches of DNA that cap our chromosomes, and they help prevent deterioration of the chromosome. And they're kind of like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Shortened telomeres aren't known to cause a specific disease per se, but they are associated with aging and shorter lifespan, again, associated. So we want to keep our telomeres intact. And what they found is that there was a link between meditation and mind-body interventions and changes in the telomere length. And other studies have followed. There was a 2017 systematic review published in Frontiers in Immunology. It looked at 18 different studies on mindfulness, yoga, tai chi, qigong, relaxation, and breath regulation. And the authors reported that these practices downregulated pathways in the body associated with chronic stress and reduced inflammation. And my little cheat sheet here says that these studies indicate that these practices are associated with a downregulation of nuclear factor kappa B. So that should go ding, ding, ding to all functional medicine and naturopathic doctors, because this suggests that mind-body interventions actually reduced the risk of inflammation-related diseases. And we all know how inflammation is something that is run rampant. Now, we need a little bit to heal, but a lot of times because of chronic stress and just the state of our world right now, inflammation can run rampant and it's harder to downregulate without interventions that we're mindful of. So I've shown you several studies on how literally these meditations or mindfulness-based practices can talk to our genes and downregulate stress responses, even perhaps help with age-related changes of our cells. In a cool study about integrative medicine, which looked at natural products, mind-body practices, and other supplementary health approaches, the authors wanted to determine evidence that they hypothesized that integrative medicine effects could be explained by epigenetics. And they did report on different mechanisms and also different studies which showed these impacts at the cellular level. So they showed, for the geeks here that want to know, direct effects through epigenetic enzymes. We're talking MTHs, HDACs, HATs, all of these different enzymes that are related to methylation factors, histine, acetylation, deacetylation. Those are like really weird words that I'm saying to people who aren't into all this science and maybe functional medicine of epigenetics, but it's pretty impressive that these specific pathways can be altered by these practices. And there's also indirect alterations on the epigenome with integrative medicine through these cellular signaling interference pathways. So if that's just all blah, blah, blah to you, what it means is there's an epigenetic connection between integrative medicine, gene expression, and it makes it possible for humans not merely to heal, but to thrive. This is what the authors say. And a cool quote that was in the actual article is said, this is especially true with respect to temporal and energy medicine, where mind over medicine becomes more than a catchy phrase. It could literally be mind over gene in this context. So this is pretty profound, the implications that mind-body practices and integrative medicine can be utilized to assist with creating a healed epigenetic profile for better health outcomes. Let's just take that in for a minute. So now we're getting at the root cause of the signaling with doing these practices and incorporating lifestyle, incorporating mindfulness, incorporating these relaxation techniques and mind-body integration therapies. Even some energy medicine now, they're getting evidence affect our epigenetics. So I think it's hard to ignore the science now or to say that this stuff is just woo-woo if you're practicing mind-body medicine, because we're getting hardcore scientific evidence at the level of gene expression that these practices make a difference. And this is empowering because many people can do some yoga stretches, take a deep breath, do some relaxation practices, exercise their bodies, eat a fruit that they love. All of these different things done mindfully is going to impact and be accessible to people. So we have a lot of more power than we think about, and it starts at the level of our mind and our intention. And I want to just put that out there because I think that's especially a message that we are not hearing enough and isn't out there enough right now. And I'd like you to grab onto that and I'd like you to run with it. And then I'd like you to come back for the second part because I'm going to be writing more about this. And of course, I'll be doing another video preview. So make sure you stay tuned for that, okay? And I appreciate you listening. And I will definitely be back, like I said. Make sure you check out all the resources and the link that I provide in the video description, and it'll lead you to anything else that you want to know about essential oils, about my practice, how I incorporate mind-body medicine, courses available, different articles, all of that will be right there in the description. So when you're done taking all this in, you can still get more if you'd like, the American way, right? All right, I will see you soon. Take good, gentle care, okay? Bye.